Okay, I'm painting her braids here. Now I've wet my figure again, and I'm using the same red iron oxide that I used to paint her face, mixed with the yellow ochre up there, but I didn't mix anything with it this time. And I'm putting it on pretty thick. And this isn't going to be the actual color of her braids. This is just the underpainting, sort of like primer, I guess you might say. And I'll come back later and overpaint it. Why do I do that? Because putting a undercoat on here will make the next color that much brighter. Red, some reds are also transparent, and if you put transparent paint on here without undercoating it, it just looks dead, the color. So got it here, make sure. But we can see where we're going. Okay, so we'll set that aside. Lost my paper towel here. Okay, up here. What do we want to do? Well, first off, I'm going to get a light gray. This is just a light gray. It's a hammered iron. They must hire a person to come up with these stupid names. So I'm going to squeeze me out a little bit of that. No, I would have read it. And the beads, I'm going to underpaint with gray. Why am I doing that? Because gray is a color that allows you to paint just about any color on top of it, especially reds. If you happen to get if you're painting red and you get some red in an area that you don't want, or you want to change the color and paint over a red area with another color, paint it with gray, because it's the only color that'll cover red. So I just go ahead and paint that gray, because I know that any other color that I put on there will work out okay. Especially beaded areas. And another thing, the beads, when I paint the beaded areas, I always wait until the carving is completely painted and varnished and everything's dry, because I don't burn individual areas on beaded areas like I do, you know, the dress between the blanket, like that. And it being dry and varnished, it gives it a nice hard surface that not hard surface, a nice dry surface that's been sealed to paint on. was saying in the other video, if you slop over, get some little bit of water on your brush. See, I got a spot right there. I'll just go in there and erase that with a damp brush. And just go back to paint. There, I just did it again. You got to get it while it's wet or else it won't work. There we go. We got that area, we got those areas up there painted. Now with parchment here, remember these are supposedly elk's teeth. Granted, they're taking quite a bit of liberty with saying that they're elk's teeth. But elk's teeth are ivory, so you want a color that approximates ivory. And this parchment color does that pretty good. I don't want much water in my brush. And this is going to take a while. Might have to come back and retouch these up. With my burn pen, you can see what I did here. I added little lines down there to sort of indicate ties, you know, just hanging, sort of like hanging shoestring, hanging a leather piece of leather string. Just adds to that, breaks up the pattern of something just being plain. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and paint all these, so I don't think you need to stick around and watch me do it. The faces of these are kind of rough. In that case, just put on some heavy paint there. Remember a long time ago a guy asked me, he said, I have trouble painting. Not getting a good finish on my paints. I think I'm painting with my paint's watered down too much. And I said, well, just use heavier paint. He says, what do you mean? And I said, well, starting with regular paint, that'll work. If you have a lot of trouble, you want to cover up a lot of bad marks or something like that, use a heavier paint. You can paint it with house paint. House paint will cover up anything. I don't think he appreciated that. Anyway, I will finish painting all these and then we'll come back and move on to something else. But you can see they're starting to look pretty nice there. Well, it's been about 30 minutes since we stopped the last time, and in the 30 minutes I triple coated these. I painted this about 3 times. That's about 3 times. I painted this area in here with the same red iron oxide we used on her face. I painted the choker here. First I painted the parchment all over. Then I came back and with the raw sienna I just did a real light wash to where this part goes into that part, and then I painted black for the divisions here. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take neon blue. This is just a real bright blue. To me it sort of signifies turquoise. And with a toothpick, give me a little on my toothpick there, and I'm going to touch these just like that. And doing that just sort of turns those into little jewels. Makes them really look spiffy. Just like that. Okay? Looks nice, huh? Put my toothpick away and put this away. And then I'm going to be very careful because that's paint's pretty thick on there, and I definitely don't want anything to touch that blue until it dries. So, I was looking through my book here, and again, here's this model that David Lemon used to make the bronze sweetgrass. And like this, I went ahead and painted that area up here red like it is here. And if you notice his red, although this picture is kind of faded, his reds are kind of the red iron oxide too. Because Indians originally got their colors from plants and things like that. Well, you could get a red from the earth, especially if you go out in western Oklahoma. It's just about that color there. So anyway, that to me is more authentic as a red than, than this is. I think that's a much prettier color. So we're just going to leave that as it is. And here they used little triangle. You just barely see them. Triangle. And Judy, I don't know if you can get that close. Yeah, I guess you can. Yes, you can. I'll tell you what. Hang on just a minute. I'm going to run up and get that sculpture and bring it down here, and we'll just check it. Okay? Okay. Here she is. This is Sweetgrass by David Lemon. First bronze. No, it's not the first bronze. Second bronze I bought. Anyway, you can see the red here. Judy zooms in. This figure is so large. I don't know. See the comparison to what we're working at? Quite a bit of difference. If you see the red here, it's just about well, this is a rusty red. These colors are added with chemicals. It's not paint, it's a chemical. And if you go to David's site, there's a video on there, on David Lemon's site at, let's see, A Day in the Life of a Lemon. But if you go to YouTube and you just search for David Lemon, you'll get his videos. And you'll find one that shows him making sweetgrass all the way through. And how they put these colors on is literally amazing to me to watch him do that. And he has a video that shows how they did it with her. But you can see how he did the neck piece up here compared to what we're doing. I don't want to copy his piece, so I made mine different. He's got the beads going down the side of her sleeve here. Ooh, it's heavy. This thing must weigh about 40 pounds. He's got her knife here. Beautiful pieces down here on the bottom, the way he did that. In the video it shows how he puts these little individual pieces on the knife and on the chest up here. See, he added the strings here like we put on our piece. Just a beautiful piece of sculpture. She sits right next to me all the time while I watch TV. So anyway, getting back to our piece, I think what we're going to do now is I want to, I wet our figure down completely. I went ahead and carved off the pencil, because you can never erase that stuff off of there. So I just carve it off, and you can't paint over it. If you go painting over it, you're taking a chance. And generally it doesn't work out, so it's best just to go ahead and carve it off. That's why I always keep a knife handy to do those things. And see, she's starting to look pretty nice, getting some color to her. Not as classy as Dave's, but it's a nice little piece. So I think that's going to be it for today. It's going to take me about all the strength I have to take this back up the hill. Judy, it's pouring down rain here, and Judy held the umbrella over my head as I brought this down. Man, it weighs a ton. Big. Anyway, in the next video, we'll start doing the beading. These videos, I'm sorry it takes so long to do them, but I'm not going to cut my videos short. Especially I'm not going to cut my painting short to speed them up. And I'll take liberty by jumping ahead and painting certain things that I think that, that anybody can pretty well do by themselves. Well, I mean, a lot of you out there can probably do this better than I do, so whatever. I'm going to take my time with these videos. So in the next videos, we'll do this beading up here. I'll go ahead and paint this this strip down here. And I found one in my book. Let's see here. Always looking. Here's a sculpture by Dave McGarry. You can see how he did his beading here. It's just a blue strip, and he's got red and yellow here, yellow and black there. Just simple colors, but it adds a lot of pizzazz to this dress. And you'll notice everything's color coordinated all over. Well, it's going to be that way with ours, and that's the way it is with Dave's. Blues and reds and tans, that's what you see. Okay, so until next video, I'll talk to you later.